Hello, hello. Welcome back to Creative Minds with Emily Eva. I'm Emily Eva, and you can find me as Emily Eva Makes on Instagram and Ravelry. I'm not on Facebook at the moment, but on Instagram and Ravelry. And if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for coming and checking me out. If you've been here before, I have to apologise for the absence. It's been a very long time, and this particular episode is about 3 months late because today I'm going to be talking to you about Sevilla Teje, or Seville Knits, which took place in mid-May. So it's a little bit late, sorry about that, but I've been a bit absent. But I still want to tell you all about it, so today is going to be about that. For those of you who've been here before, you know that this is not supposed to be a knitting podcast. This is supposed to be a podcast about general creativity, lots of different creative things, and mental health more than anything. But it is becoming more and more a knitting podcast as I go on. And today, obviously, it's about a knitting festival, so it's going to be quite knitting heavy. Well, knitting and crochet, but yeah, I'm going to try and talk a little bit more about the mental side of things, the emotional side of going to a big festival like this. But I am going to show you, of course, all the things that I bought and all the presents that I got. So there's going to be a lot of yarn. It's very much more like a knitting podcast. So first of all, let me show you the program. Here we go, Sevilla Teje, which means Seville Knits. So this, as you can see here, was from the 12th to the 14th of May, that weekend, in the middle of Seville, which is a beautiful, beautiful city. This is the second time that I've been here, and it's the second year of the festival, actually. They started last year, and that was the first time I went, and it was the first ever yarn festival that I'd been to, and I absolutely loved it, so there was no way I was not going to go again this year. So this programme has a little map of all the places that we could go to, and it has a list of all the people that were there, all the shops that were there. We've got a photo there of the organisers and some information about them. There were a couple of free patterns as well that you could download for the festival, 2 shawls, 1 knit and 1 crochet. So we've got that. But let me tell you first about the journey and the emotions surrounding the weekend, and then I'll show you all the presents and things. So first of all, it's really weird because I've been to this before and I know that I love it, and yet even the morning as I was going to get in the car with Nella and Antonio and Nicole, it didn't feel real. I've been thinking about it for ages and planning and excited to go. Obviously I was excited, but it didn't feel real, so it was very odd. But we had a great little road trip down from Granada down to Seville, with Nella from Marianella Gallo, who has the YouTube channel Trizas Trazos, and Antonio from Beagle Knits, and Nicole, who is the Time Weaver. They both have their YouTube channels as well. So a little car of podcasters. Great road trip, lots of chatting, lots of silliness, lots of planning what we were going to do for the weekend and talking about which things you wanted to see, because there's always classes and talks and things going on. So lots of planning, so we're getting all excited. And then, of course, you get there. We went to, I was staying with Nella. So we arrived and we're dropping off all of our things and having a little bit of a break. We didn't want to go straight down there because we went on Friday morning and it opened in the afternoon, I think. Nella and Nicole went early to go and help set up or something, I think. And I stayed behind and just chilled out for a little while, which was quite nice. And then finally at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I think, we went down to the festival. And it's just this rush of, I don't know, warmth and joy and excitement when you get in there, because the thing with Seville Knits that I found the same thing last year, and very much this year, more so, in fact, is that it's very kind of, it's a community. It's more like a family. Loads of people know each other. It's not a big international yarn festival, so you don't have all the, the celebrities coming from all over the place. It's pretty much all designers and what do you call them in English? Expositores. I don't know, stall holders. Vendors, that's the word we use for the yarn festivals, vendors. It's very much vendors and designers from Spain and Portugal. Maybe 1 or 2 from elsewhere, but it's mostly people from the peninsula. So everybody kind of knows each other. You can go around the festival spotting the different patterns that what people are wearing, because it's all going to be of patterns from designers who are local and who are there giving talks and workshops. So there's this huge community feeling. And as soon as we walked in the door, I went in with Nella's mum. As soon as we walked in the door, somebody recognised her and stopped us and gave us little presents. So it was really nice. We just went in and had a little wander around and saying hello to everybody and lots of hugs. Now that we can. Last year, we were still wearing masks, but this year we were able to go and give everybody hugs and get a bit closer. So that was nice. And everybody's happy and smiling, and it was lovely. So most of the day Friday was just this warmth and joy and, community spirit when you're meeting everybody. I didn't have any workshops booked. I did go to some chats and things on the Saturday, and I've discovered that is a secret. If you don't have a lot of money and you want to go to one of these festivals, but of course you're tempted to buy things all over the place, what you should be doing is going to all the free talks, all the free talks and group things, whatever it is, because they give out little freebies. I didn't know that before. Maybe not in every talk, but I got several freebies just from going along to these talks. So that is the trick. Go to some talks and get some freebies. Because I had said beforehand, I don't really have any money to buy anything. Obviously, I was going to buy something, but I didn't have a lot to spend. So I tried to stick to only like little things like accessories and bags and stuff. I did buy one little kit, but it wasn't an expensive kit. So I think it was worth it. I think it was quite a useful thing. But yeah, so I went to a lot of talks on the Saturday. And that's where I got freebies and things. And that's really nice as well, because then you're learning stuff as well. And I'm very much of the mind that you should keep learning throughout your life. You should always be learning. You should learn something new every day, even if you don't realise it, even if it's only a silly bit of trivia. But learning is it's one of the things that makes us human, the way we learn. And we have to keep learning all the time. So that was really interesting, going to those things and learning new things. What did I go to? Hold on, right. I'm going too fast. I'm out of practice. So Friday was lovely. Lots and lots of community spirit and hugs and everything, laughing and stuff. I don't think I bought anything that day, but I got a lot of presents. And we had a big meal in the evening that Nicole organised, I think. So thank you, Nicole. There were about 4 or 5 tables of people. It was lovely. So we're all chatting and getting together, and lots of photos and things. So Friday was really, really nice, and we went home quite late and were quite knackered. So Saturday morning, I decided to stay in and just be lazy for the morning, because it was a bit much. But I went in for about lunchtime, and let me tell you, that is not a good time to join one of these festivals. Lunchtime on the Saturday, because the Saturday is the main day, and we knew it would be. Lots of people can't get there on a Friday. Lots of people are still working, so Saturday is obviously going to be the busy day. But even so, it was a bit scary, I've got to admit. I had a bit of a anxiety overload, stimulus overload, I don't know. Too many people. It doesn't help that we kind of snuck in the back door, because Nella's mum wanted to do something, I don't remember. But she kind of, we snuck in the back door, which meant that we ended up at the back of the main hall, stuck in a corner, and we couldn't go back out again because we'd snuck in. We weren't supposed to go in that door, so we couldn't go back out again. We were just stuck right at the back of the main hall, surrounded by people, just unable to move. And within 2 minutes, I just went, I can't, no, and I ran away. Ran. It was a bit difficult. I pushed my way past all the stalls and tried to get out to the front door as soon as I could. And as I got out the front door, there was Antonio stood there, so I just kind of grabbed onto Antonio. I was like, help me, there's too many people, I can't cope. He gave me a bit of a hug and calmed me down. And then I just went, no, I can't take this. I'm going to go for a walk. So I took an hour and a half, maybe. Not too long, because there were some talks that I wanted to see in the afternoon. But an hour and a half, and I just wandered off. I just went for a wander around that part of Seville by myself, just looking at the buildings, looking at the river, which is beautiful, by the way. It's really gorgeous around there. And I went off and found somewhere cheap to have a quick bite to eat, and I sent Nella a message going, don't worry about me, you won't find me, you guys go and have lunch whenever you want, I'm having something quick now on my own. I freaked out. Just don't worry, I'll be back. Apparently Nella's mum later was just like, I don't know where she's gone, I've lost her. I looked down, I looked away for a minute, I looked back and she was gone, and I'm looking on the floor trying to see if somebody's trampled on her or something, but she just disappeared. But yeah, it was just that I couldn't even say anything. It was just total anxiety overload as well. I need to get out of here. So that is one of the bad things of these big yarn festivals, is it can get very busy, and I don't know if I've always been this way with crowds. I think I have a little bit. I've never really liked crowds, but certainly since the pandemic, being in a closed-in space like that with so many people, it's just horrible. I just don't like it at all. So yeah, that freaked me out a bit, and that is one of the things you have to be careful about with these kind of events. It was a bit full on, but it calmed down again in the afternoon. It was crazy Saturday morning, well, lunchtime. I don't know if it was crazy from first thing. We didn't get there till lunchtime. But it calmed down again in the afternoon. And it was nice outside. They have a big patio out the front where people can sit and have a drink or something. Plenty of open space. But inside, around all the stalls, was just too much. So be careful with things like that. I must say, at Love Yarn Madrid, we didn't have that problem at all, because it was such a big space. Everything was really spaced out. There was loads of room. You could bump into people and just stand there in a big group and you still wouldn't be in anybody's way. So that was a very different experience. It's much nicer on that front in Love Yarn Madrid, but at the same time you didn't quite get the community spirit that you get in Seville, because in Seville you just, everybody knows everybody, and you can't take two steps without stopping and saying something to somebody. So I mean, not quite everybody knows everybody, but there's a much more community spirit there. Whereas in Madrid, because it was so spaced out, you still had a lot of people knew each other, but there were lots of people afterwards saying, I didn't realise you'd gone, I didn't see you at all, I was there the whole weekend, how did I not see you? Just because it was so easy to pass by people and not notice that they were there. So it's a very different feeling, but I think I prefer Seville. Apart from the crowds, I think I prefer Seville, just for that community spirit. So anyway, that was the one little bad point, was Saturday lunchtime. Freaked out, ran away. But when I came back, that's when I went to all the chats. Saturday afternoon, I just went from one chat to another all afternoon. And that was really nice, because then you're with a small group of people. A lot of it was outside in the back patio until it got too hot, and then they moved us inside. Wasn't as hot as we were expecting for mid-May in Seville, but it was still pretty hot in the sun. So we got moved inside. But I learnt lots of new things and got to sit quietly for a while and actually do some knitting, which is something that you don't usually really do when you go to these festivals. You go to a yarn festival to see people, and you might compare projects and stuff, but there's not really a lot of time actually sitting down and knitting unless you've joined a workshop. So it was really nice that afternoon just to sit there listening to people and doing a little bit of knitting on my own. That was lovely. And then Saturday night was actually Eurovision final, so we decided not to go to the big meal that was set up for the Saturday night. We went back to the flat and watched Eurovision and had a meal by ourselves, which I thought was fantastic. I much preferred that idea, actually. I like the big meals with everybody, but we'd had one on the Friday anyway. So, you know, and it meant spending less money as well. So yeah, I preferred that. I went home and watched Eurovision, and I sat and crocheted a whole project in one night, which was kind of cool. I'll show you in a minute. And then Sunday is obviously much quieter, because people are leaving or getting ready to leave, and it finishes at, I don't know, about 3 or something on the Sunday anyway. So it's much quieter. There was much more just kind of wandering back and forth and just saying hello to people. And that's when I did most of the looking at what was on sale on the stalls, because it was so much quieter. You could just kind of go slowly and talk to people. And I spent a rather long time in the Dark Omen yarn stall chatting with Francesco and hatching plans, because I think Francesco is fantastic. And he makes just the most gorgeous yarn. I love it. So we were hatching plans, because I said to him, you're going to have to give me a job or something, so just that I can be here all day touching all the wool, because it's just too nice. It's too nice. There's so many good colours and it's all so soft. I just want to stand here all day. So you're going to have to give me a job. So then we started talking about possibilities of what I could do or how I could help. It's all crazy and it's not going to happen, but it was very much fun. And I did actually spend most of the afternoon, well, late morning, early afternoon, there chatting with him and hatching plans. And he gave me a lanyard because I helped him out for all of 5 minutes. He left me on my own in his stall, so he gave me a lanyard to say that I'd been working with him, dark home and yarn. Very silly, but I loved it. So yeah, these yarn festivals, particularly Seville, for me are just the best thing. So much community spirit. It just makes me so happy. And then you get bonuses like getting little freebies and presents and stuff from people. So it's great. I loved it. Great time. And we had a nice little road trip back. And then I was way too hyper. I got home and immediately said to my flatmate, let's go for a drink, because it was about 8 o'clock. Let's go for a drink. And then I just kind of babbled at her for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And she doesn't even knit. She knows nothing about this stuff. She's not interested in the slightest. But I just had to babble at her because I was just so hyper. And then the day after is when you get the emotional hangover, because then it's been too many ups and downs, and mostly up for 3 days, and then you have to come back to reality and go to work, and it just kind of goes poof. And then I had a week of like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't want to work, and I don't want to do this, and I don't know what to do. So yeah, emotionally it's a bit full on, but still gotta say you should go. It's a lot of fun, and I still think it's brilliant. Anyway, that was a very quick-ish. I've been talking for 15 minutes. But probably very fast summary, let's say, of the emotional side of it. Let me show you some of the things that I got. So I already said earlier, I kind of planned not to spend very much because I was going to have to spend a little bit on food and transport anyway. I was expecting to have to get taxis. In the end, I didn't have to get taxis anywhere, I don't think. We managed with buses. And I spent less on food than expected because obviously we stayed in on the Saturday night. And I was lazy on the Friday. No, we did have something out on the Friday. All right, well, I spent a little bit less on food anyway than I was expecting. So I allowed myself to buy a couple of things, but I tried to stick to accessories. But I got loads of freebies, which is great. I told you when we first walked in the door, we got stopped by someone who knew Amelia, a woman called Lourdes, and she gave us these beautiful little needle stoppers, which I've never had before. I've never had any needle stoppers. I knew about them, but I've never had them. And a little heart button, which is beautiful as well. I don't know what to put that on. It needs to be something where you only have one button, so I don't know. But these little needle toppers, or stoppers, I don't know, which are great. Beautiful little things. So I need to start using those. Everything that I had from Seville has basically sat in the bag since I got back because I wanted to show you guys. I did the Spanish podcast almost immediately, but then I didn't do the English version, so it's still been sat in a bag for ages. The light's going a bit weird, never mind. So yeah, we got needle toppers. That was the first thing for free. Actually, that might have been the second thing because I've got a stitch marker here from Nicole, Time Weaver, which she may well have just given me in the car on the way down, to be honest. I don't remember at what point she gave me this. And it had a little number on the back because she did a giveaway at some point, but unfortunately I didn't win. But never mind. So those were a couple of presents that I got there. And then Amelia, bless her heart, love her to pieces, she called me over. I was talking to somebody, I don't know who, maybe Francesco, or maybe Liz from Trey Liz. I don't know. But I was talking to somebody and I get a phone call and it's Amelia. And I'm like, why are you ringing me? We're here together. What's going on? And she says, come over to this stall. I was like, okay, why? So I go over there and she's going, which colour do you prefer, this one or this one? I was like, but what is it for? Like, depends what project you want it for. And she's like, no, for you. I'm giving it to you. I was like, don't be ridiculous. You can't give me that. She went, yeah, because you said you haven't got a lot of money to buy anything. I want you to have something. I'm going to buy this for you. So sweet. She really didn't have to do that. So she bought me a skein of El Roble de la Santa, which is a mohair blend, 48% mohair, 15% cotton, 12% silk, and 25% chubut, which we discovered was a type of sheep. I think it's similar to the merino sheep, but it's a particular breed from, I think, Argentina. I can't remember exactly, and it's non-superwash. And she bought it for me because I decided this was the colour I preferred in the official colour, because this was a skein that they dyed up for one of the free patterns for the festival, called the Chal Sur, or South Shawl, by Juana Liranzo, which is this one. And this is the actual official colour from Roblidal. So she bought me that skein and I made that free pattern in it. I haven't blocked this. It will stretch out a little bit more, and this edge will hopefully sort itself out a little bit because it's curling up a bit. I haven't blocked it, but I did finish it really quickly. I think I even cast it on there in Seville. It's coming up a little bit blue on the screen, but it's actually more of a lavender colour, and it's inspired by some of the trees that you get all over Seville. They have this beautiful kind of lavender colour flowers that are usually in bloom around that time of year in May, and when they start to fall on the ground, you just get these like swathes of purple flowers all over the floor. It's beautiful. And they were actually, at that point when we were there, it was a little bit early for them to be falling off the trees, apparently, but they were already. So I saw loads of these just collections of purple flowers on the streets as we were walking past. It was gorgeous, and it is very, very much that colour. But as I say, on the screen it's looking a little blue. It's not blue, it's a lilac-y lavender purple, really, is what it is. So thank you very much, Amelia. And that is the Chal Sur, the South Shawl by Juana from Andoliando. And that was one of the free shawls for the festival, one of the festival patterns. So that was one present. I also ran into Esther from No Solo Punto, and she gave me a little badge, because I'd actually I'd missed her at Love Yarn Madrid, and I think I said on the podcast, I don't understand how everybody's got a load of badges from when they came back from Love Yarn Madrid, because I didn't find any. I think I had one from Albe, from what's the podcast called? Dando la Lana, I think. Corey the Cabler. Anyway, his name is Corey the Cabler on social media, which means heart of the skein or heart of the sheep or something to do with the heart in Catalan. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, I got one badge from him, but everyone else I saw on the podcast afterwards had a load of badges from Love Yarn Madrid, and I was like, where did you get these things from? I couldn't find anything. And I remember I actually sent a message on Instagram to Esther, because she mentioned something about her badges, and I was like, I didn't get one. Everybody else has got badges and I didn't get a badge. So she's promised to give me one in Seville, and she is the one person that I found to give me a badge in Seville. I got it finally. So that needs to go on my little bag. My light is going really weird. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Try and sit over here a little bit. Okay, so got the badge. Next is something that I bought, which was a little project bag. As I say, I tried to stick to accessories. This beautiful project bag with all the cats on it. That is exactly what my cat looks like every evening, except for the colour. But, you know, the activity, that is what he's doing every night. He finds a ball of wool. I leave out some acrylic stuff that I don't really mind him messing with, and I leave it on we have like a sideboard, and I leave it on there, and he'll just help himself. He'll just come sit up there, knock it off onto the floor, and then go crazy, and he does all of that basically. But my cat is a ginger tom, and they didn't have any ginger cats on these bags, so I had to settle for a black one. But anyway, I love it anyway. It's from Paloma Liranzo. I'll try and put a note down below. Paloma. There you go. I hope that's not actually backwards for you. I don't usually check, so I don't know. But anyway, that is something that I did buy. Because it's beautiful and I love it. I couldn't help myself. Another thing that I bought, I wanted to buy the kit, but I couldn't really afford to get the whole kit. And I also wanted to buy a kit for another one of Juana's patterns, but again, couldn't really afford it, and they didn't have the colour that I wanted. Oh no, they didn't have the colour that I wanted in this one either, actually. This is the Triana Cardigan by Marina Storm of Storm Knitting Art. So as I couldn't buy the kit, I just got the pattern. I thought the pattern I could at least stretch to. That's not expensive, but I couldn't afford the kit, and I thought then I'll find something when I get home to make it in. And I did, because I remembered that I bought in Love Yarn Madrid, I bought 2 skeins of Dalmatian colourway from Irish FairyTale Yarns, which is this gorgeous kind of natural colour with some grey and black speckles in it. So I thought that is perfect. It's the right weight. It's a nice neutral colour. It'll be beautiful for this kind of a pattern. So there we go. And I have indeed made the Triana Cardigan by Marina Storm. Let me stand up and put that on for you. I may have made it slightly longer than it said in the pattern by accident, mostly because I wasn't paying a lot of attention to how she counted the repeats of the pattern. I thought I had done the same number of repeats of this lace pattern as she said, and then I realised that I was counting from row 2 instead of row 3 instead of row 1 or something, so I may have done it slightly longer, but only slightly. But it's quite a nice length anyway. It just goes below the hips. Looks really nice. It's got this nice little rib detail down the sides, and just a tiny little collar there, a tiny bit of collar shaping there. Beautiful. I have got these little sticky up bits at the edge. That's from where I've blocked it, and I kind of pinned it out straight, and I probably shouldn't pin it out straight. I should give it a bit of a curve, but hey, we live and learn. As you know, I love learning new things, so I'm learning to be careful with how I block things. Oops, sorry. There we go. And now it's gone all dark again. Oh well, never mind. Anyway, so I bought that pattern. I already had the wool from Loved Yarn Madrid, and I made that when I got back. Not quite immediately, it took a little while, but I did it. And I blocked it about 2 weeks ago, because it's now getting back to a temperature where I might be able to wear it a little bit. This summer was so hot, it was ridiculous. That's why I haven't been podcasting, because I would have needed a fan on and then you wouldn't be able to hear me, and I would have needed the blinds open so we have light, but then it would have been too hot and nightmare. And I didn't want to put makeup on while it was really hot because I'm just going to sweat it all off again, which I think I'm already doing today, but never mind. Anyway, I have eventually finished the cardigan, unblocked it, and now I can start wearing it. What else did I get? I also, let's get some of the freebies. I went to the chat by Juana from Andoleando. Yeah, Andoleando, I think it is. I don't think there's a second name to that. And Carmen García de Mora. Carmen de Mora García? Carmen García de Mora. Oops. Sorry, Carmen. Who do a magazine every year. Between the two of them, they do 2 patterns each, and it's called Knit Light, which is available in Spanish and in English. So if you're interested, go and have a look. They're now on edition number 5. Lots of really nice patterns, generally summer patterns. Some of them are a little bit more like spring or autumn maybe, but generally it's summer patterns, and they're really nice. So they did a chat just kind of presenting the previous editions of Knit Light. They did from 1 to 4, because at that point Knit 5 hadn't come out, Knit Light 5 hadn't come out, but it has now. And they were talking about how they create these patterns, how they go about dreaming up the different stitch patterns, how you can learn from doing swatches, from doing samples of those stitch patterns, how you can learn whether those colours work together or whether that stitch pattern works in that yarn, or about gauge and stuff, and how you end up adapting your pattern based on the swatches that you've made, which I thought was really interesting because it's not something that would have occurred to me. I don't know, I'm sure designers do things differently, and some will have it all in their head exactly what they want to do and do all the maths first and then just knit it, and I'm sure others will just knit something and kind of write as they go along. I don't know. But I hadn't really taken that into account, the possibility of like thinking, okay, well, I've got an idea, let's do a few swatches of the patterns or the colours or whatever, and then decide, actually, no, that doesn't work together, but maybe this works instead. And it just seemed really interesting. It's maybe not interesting to other people, but for me it was interesting. And anyway, they also gave out some little freebies of some of the yarn that they had used in creating these patterns. So I got this ball of Rowan cotton glacé, which is gorgeous, 100% cotton. It's a really nice cotton, and it's quite soft, and it's a beautiful colour as well. I have no idea what to do with it because, of course, I've only got the one ball, 50 grams. This would be really, really nice for the Lydia tee, which I don't think is actually in the Knit Light. I think it's one of Juana's patterns on the side. I don't think it's part of the Knit Light collection, but it would look really nice in this. but obviously I would need quite a few more wools, so maybe at some point, if I have some more money, I can add to this collection and make something like that. But really, really nice, and some of the samples they showed us were beautiful as well. I think I have all of them because I do some of the translating for them. So I think I have all of them except for the first one. And there's a particular pattern in the first one that I really want to do, but I don't have it, so I'm going to have to go and buy it. Maybe if I ask nicely, they'll give it to me for free. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, but yeah, I would need to get a lot more of that cotton to do anything interesting with it. So that was one of the freebies. Another freebie was from a chat by Mama DIY, Cecilia, who was talking about, she has a kind of, I don't know if it's just like a making group in general or if it's specifically crochet, but she has this crochet group that people can join from all over the place, and they'll do virtual things online, so they can get together and talk about different patterns, and there was some kind of structure to it, so you could donate and get extra things for free, or I can't remember exactly, but she gave me all the links so I could go and find out more information, but I knew that I wasn't going to join, so I didn't do it. It sounds like a great thing, but I have no money for things like that. Sounds like fun, but unless it's free, I can't at the moment. So anyway, this is Cecilia. All her information there. It's all in Spanish, I'm afraid. But anyway, specialist in crochet. Oh no, it's not all in Spanish. She's got English there too. Workshop instructor. Crea tu mundo bonito. Make your beautiful world. So if you want to go and find out some more information about that group that she was talking about, go and join them. But as she was talking about this, she just gave out these little bags of goodies to everybody. So we all got this little bag, which is made of what? I don't know, canvas or something. It's quite a simple bag, but it's nice. It's good size for a project. So we've got that little bag, which came with a ball of wool. In this case, I got Katia Merino Baby Plus, which is a bit of a mess, I'm afraid. I think I was looking at it at some point, but it's very nice colours, blues and greys and whites in there. It is, where are we? 50 grams, 180 yards, 100% virgin wool. There you go. Merino extra fine. So we got that for free, and we got a little notebook, which is just blank pages. But you know how I love notebooks, so yay. In this one, I got 2 crochet hooks, but I'm pretty sure most people only got 1. So I don't know what happened there. Got lucky maybe. 2 little crochet hooks, which look like they're either wood or bamboo. I think they're bamboo by the look of things, because they look kind of porous at the bottom. So I think they're bamboo crochet hooks, both of 4mm, I think. Yeah, 4mm, and another little mini bag that we can use for notions and stuff, which came with a stitch marker and a little wooden tag that you can sew onto your handmade items, which says "Vivir es increíble," living is incredible, and a little stitch marker there, a ball of wool and some knitting needles. Beautiful. So all of these, as I say, for free, just for going to the talk. So this is what I mean. Go and see some talks, they're free, and get some nice freebies. And learn something. It's all good. Okay, so that was a freebie. What else did I get? The cotton was a freebie. I bought, because I felt like I needed to have a proper souvenir, I bought the Sevilla Teje project bag, which is a nice big project bag, very useful. This has actually held all of my presents and stuff until I got around to doing the podcast. So you can get quite a lot in here. So Sevilla Teje bag. I also bought the little notebook. There you go, which is a nice little design. Again, just blank pages, but you know what I'm like. I like my notebooks. So 2 new notebooks there, and more project bags. I needed more project bags, so I got those. And the thing that I did in one night while watching Eurovision was a kit that I bought from Experiencias Positivas, Positive Experiences. Let me show you that there. Positive Experiences, which is a bottle cover for a water bottle. What she did was she sold a kit where you could buy the bottle itself, which was a nice glass bottle, and the pattern and the yarn to go with it. for like a one-off price, and it seemed quite a good deal. I knew that this woman was, well, this stall was here. It was 2 women, I think, but I only spoke to one that day. I don't know. I knew that they were there, and we'd been talking about it, I think, in the journey down on the Friday. And we were a little bit confused, like, if she's only doing bottle covers, like, I don't understand, why she got a whole stall if she's only got these bottle covers. Is she really going to make a lot of money? We were a bit confused as to like how good a business that was, basically. But and I wasn't entirely sure that I wanted anything like that. I didn't have a bottle that I needed to cover at the time. I had been thinking about getting one because everybody has a nice water bottle that they can reuse these days, but I don't have one, or I didn't have one. So I had been thinking about getting a bottle, but wasn't really that bothered about it. And I thought, do I really care about making a cover for it? I don't know. So I wasn't convinced. And what actually caught my eye, I didn't realise that it was this person. What caught my eye was the wool that she had on the table, because it all came in these long, like, rods. It was really weird, and I'd never seen wool in that way before. So these are my leftovers. You can see they're like in rolls, and they were huge. She had them all the way along there, and she basically just broke off the part that she needed to give you. It was really interesting. And this is like a really rustic wool, but in some amazing colours, obviously. Look at that pink and purple. And she had all different colours in there. So that's what caught my eye. And I started talking to her about it. Going, I've never seen it in that way before, in these kind of rolls. It's really weird. So I got talking to her about that. And then she told me like what it was for and the point of it and stuff, and showed me the patterns. And I was still like, oh, I don't know if I want a bottle cover. But then she showed me the pattern itself, and that intrigued me again, because she's I think she's a fairly new designer, and I don't know if she'd really done any crochet patterns before, like used written crochet patterns before. I'm not sure. But she basically invented her own way of doing a crochet pattern. I don't want to show you all of it, but like basically you've just got this grid that shows you the picture that you want to be making, and tells you where to do the colour changes. And otherwise, it's all the same stitch all the way around, and you're working in the rounds. But it's very, very simple visual kind of a pattern, and that just intrigued me as well. I'd never seen anything like it, and I thought I want to know what it's like to work with that kind of thing. Is that going to be easier? Is it actually going to be confusing? I don't really know. So that intrigued me, and the wool intrigued me, and it was nice colours, and I didn't have a water bottle anyway, so I thought, do you know what? Let's do it. This is a good thing to buy because you're getting a whole kit. So I've got my little water bottle that she gave me, beautiful glass bottle. I've got my iced tea in there. There was a stamp of her brand name on the top, but it washed off fairly easily, which is a shame, but never mind. And this is the little bottle cover that I made from her pattern. So we've got this water droplet on it. And it tells you how to start off at the base and do this spiral, and then how to turn, and then you end up working in the round where to do the colour changes. I think I may have messed up slightly at the bottom there, but who cares? Who is looking that closely? Most of the time, people are seeing it from back there, and it just looks kind of funky. I added the strap. This was not part of the pattern. She had you just finish with this top colour here. That was where it's supposed to finish, but I wanted to be able to carry it around. I didn't want to drop it or anything, so I just added this on the top just by going backwards and forwards as long as I wanted, and then I did an extra round in the pink around it. You can see I didn't weave in my ends. I kind of figured, why bother? It's a bottle cover. I don't really care. So I just need to tuck that in slightly. I didn't sew in the ends, and I didn't block it, but you don't really need to. It's perfect as it is. So there we go. There's my little bottle cover, which I did in one night. So I was able to go back on the Sunday and show it to her and have a photo done with her and go, look, I did it already, which was kind of fun. So yeah, there's that. What else have we got? We're down to the last couple of things. Okay, so that was the pattern there. I bought a couple of accessories from Trizas Trazos, which is just like a local yarn store that had set up a store there. Oh, my light is terrible, I'm sorry. Let me sit right in the middle of it. I wanted to buy lots of different needles for Chiaogoo because I love Chiaogoo. I love their cables. I love the join. So I wanted more of these, but it turned out to be really expensive. And I said, well, what's going on? I'm sure they never used to be this. And she said, this year, Chiaogoo have raised their prices for everybody ridiculously. The price rise has just been crazy. So I only got one set in the end. So I got a set of 3mm needles because I didn't have any of that size. I still want to get some more, but it was, as I say, it was just ridiculously expensive. So maybe the next time I go to a festival, I'll get one more set or something. Do it in little bits and pieces. And the other thing I bought, which I thought was really cute, is this, which supposedly is a cable needle, but screw that. I'm going to use it as a shawl pin because that's just perfect, you know. Put it through a shawl there and hold it together, or my cardigan or something. I think it'd be perfect. I haven't tried it out yet, obviously, because I was waiting to show you guys, and everything's just sat in a bag for 3 months. But now that I've shown you, I can actually go and use it. So I'm going to go and grab a shawl and see how that looks with that on it. A little cat thing. Oh, beautiful. So that was it for shopping. I think that's everything for shopping. The only thing I have left to show you is one more present from the gorgeous, lovely Francesco from Dark Omen Yarn. Because I was there chatting to him all afternoon on Sunday. I mean, we chatted already a little bit on the Friday, on the Saturday, but Sunday I was there pretty much all afternoon chatting with him, or over lunchtime, whatever it was. It feels like afternoon. But anyway, they're chatting away and hatching plans and stuff. And I basically spent, particularly the last half hour of being there in his stand, I was just kind of stroking this. It's really nice and it's really soft, just hugging it and squishing it, and because it's just lovely. This is a Merino DK, and it's just gorgeous. I love the colour, I love the softness and squishiness of it. I just love it. So I was just kind of hugging this for a while as we were chatting and like helping to make sales or whatever. And in the end, he was like, "Would you take that with you?" And I was like, "But I didn't stand here all day so that you would give me freebies. I just wanted to chat to you and I just wanted to hug the wool and look at it and touch it. I wasn't here asking for freebies. That was not my intention." He's like, "Can I not just give you a freebie anyway, like as a sign of friendship?" I was like, "Okay, thank you." So yeah, he gave me that. Bless him. Bless his heart. He's too lovely for his own good, that boy. Love him. Anyway, so Merino DK from Dark Omen Yarn, 100% Merino Superwash, 115 grams, and 230 meters, and this is the Pisces colorway, which I just think is gorgeous. Obviously I haven't done anything with it because it's been sat in a bag for 3 months, but also I still don't really know what I want to do with it. I would really like, because another thing we talked about, like how I could be useful when we were still hatching plans about him giving me a job, was that maybe I could do some sample knitting for him. Like he could send me some yarns, tell me what he wants to see, and I'll knit it into something and send it back again, so he can show that the finished objects at the yarn festivals and whatever. So I said to him, well, maybe I could do something with this. You know, what kind of thing would you like to see? He didn't really have any ideas, so there was nothing he was particularly hoping for or waiting to do. So I don't know. I went off and had a think about it. But what I would really like to do is put it with the one that I bought from him at Love Yarn, which is a Mohair. And I think these colours would go quite well together because this is a lovely grey, but it's got touches of blue in it. So I think this would actually go quite nicely together. But I've got one skein of DK and one skein of Mohair. What am I going to do to mix these two together? I don't know how best to use them. I was really hoping to find like the perfect pattern that would combine them, and I was thinking maybe I could do some kind of, I would love to do some brioche. He loves brioche, I love brioche, but I just don't know if brioche between Mohair and DK is going to work. Without doing a sample, I can't tell you. Maybe I should, now that I've shown them to you, maybe I should wind them up and just do a quick sample with some brioche and just see how that works. I was trying to design my own things because I'd really like to have garments in this wool because it's gorgeous. I'd love to be able to do a top, and I was thinking maybe of like brioche band across the chest, but then like a lacy mohair pattern for the top bit with like little cap sleeves or something, and then lacy mohair underneath that kind of flows out, you know, frilly kind of thing. But I'm not a designer. I have absolutely no idea how to go about doing that. I have a kind of idea of what I want it to look like, but it would take an awful lot of investigation on how to construct that to make it work. So I don't know. it's still a possibility. I still have that idea in my head, and I really like the idea. But I'm going to have to, first of all, just wind those up and do a little sample and see what they look like on their own, what they look like together, whether there's a way of mixing them together, and then look into like different kind of top construction so that I could do that lace idea at the top and at the bottom, but a brioche band across the chest. And I don't know, it's going to be a lot of work. And I generally get bored if I have to put a lot of work into my knitting. I knit to relax, and for my mental health. So as much as it's fun learning, and I do love learning, you know that, but if it's too much of an undertaking, I don't think I'm going to see it through. I'm not very good at seeing things through to the end. It's something I've been working on, trying to finish things off. Sorry about the lighting today, this is crazy. I also thought maybe, so that I could get something a little bit bigger, maybe I could match this one up with what I got from Love Yarn Madrid, All You Knit Is Love, because this has also got bluey green speckles and stuff in it, but more of a kind of grey base. So maybe those will go quite nicely together, and maybe I could do some brioche with them. Brio duo, as Gemma Darling would say. I don't know. But now that I've shown them to you, I can wind them up and do some samples and do some swatching and see what I think. Because that's how we're supposed to swatch, by the way, guys. I don't know if you like swatching, if you don't like swatching. Generally, people don't particularly like swatching. I, for one, don't usually like it. But according to Patty Lyons, and I'm sure she's not the only one, but she's like my knitting guru. I love Patty Lyons. She said that we kind of do swatching backwards because we tend to get the pattern for something that we want and buy yarn to go with that pattern because that's the pattern that we want. And then we swatch to try and match the gauge of the pattern. And really, that's backwards. What we should be doing, is that what the light out slightly? Yeah. What we should be doing is buying a yarn and then swatching with it to see what this yarn wants to be. Does it want to be knit with this needle material, with this size needle? Does it want to be knit with this stitch pattern? Does it want to be just stockinette? Does it want to be done in the round or flat? Or I don't know, which makes a lot of sense. And I feel like it's something I should do with these ones to see what looks good in these yarns, but generally I don't follow that advice. Usually I find a pattern I want to do and buy yarn for it. Sometimes I buy yarn because I love it and then try and find the perfect pattern for it. But that method, it can sometimes backfire because, for example, I've got yarn that I bought, in fact, both methods backfire in this particular example. I bought some yarn for a particular pattern about 4 years ago, something like that, maybe 5, because I had this pattern, I really wanted to do it, but I wasn't as experienced then. I didn't check the material properly, I didn't check the gauge properly, I didn't check the meterage properly, and this yarn just did not go with that pattern. It just didn't work at all. So I mean, I tried a few times and then I just gave up and frogged it and just went, nope, that's not happening. So I had all of this yarn, like enough to make a tank top like this. It was a similar pattern to this, actually. It wasn't this one, but similar. So I had enough yarn to do that, just sat in a bag for 4 years. And I finally found the perfect pattern for it. But now I don't quite have enough yarn to finish it because the pattern's slightly different. And that particular line of yarn has now been discontinued, so I can't get another ball. So I'm having to kind of fudge it, and I'm going to try and remove a bit from the hem so that I can finish the sleeves. So at least the sleeves are all done in the same yarn, and it looks, most of the top looks exactly the same. And then I've got another yarn which is a very, very similar colour, but it's a different fibre. So I'll try to use that only on the hem, so only the very bottom of the top would be different, and I'm hoping that will look okay because I'm not getting any more of that yarn. So yeah, it kind of backfires because the yarn I wanted didn't go with the pattern, because I had a pattern first and then I bought the yarn didn't go with the pattern, and then I had the yarn and I found the perfect pattern for it, but then I didn't have enough of the yarn, so that backfired too. So you've got to be careful with these things. We're very good at buying things because, you know, they're pretty and we want them, and not so good at actually planning things out very well. So I'm trying to change that. I know I'm not the only one. I'm trying to change that, and I think in this particular case, with these lovely yarns from Dark Omen, and this one from All Unit Is Love, I think I need to do the swatching first and just see what they want to be, what they work well with, and then try and find something to go with them. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to buy any more, but I don't know. We'll see. If I have a good idea for the Dark Omen, maybe he would send me a little bit more so that I could do a proper sample and send it back. I don't know. But I don't really want to impose on him. It was just silly ideas. We were just hatching plans and being silly for an afternoon. It was a lot of fun, but it was silly ideas. Anyway, I think that is it in terms of presents and things that I bought. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, unfortunately, this is all in Spanish. Tejiendo solidaridad. Oh, that's a difficult word to say. It means knitting solidarity. This is an organisation here in Spain who are trying to promote knitting as a kind of therapy. They're also trying to educate people about the value of wool. They're doing lots of social projects and solidarity projects to, like everybody knits a square of a blanket or something, and they put them together and then they send it to people who need them in different places. They were one of the chats that I went to see at Seville Knits, and it was really, really interesting. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually sit and listen to all of it because I had to go to a photo shoot of something. Can't remember. There was some kind of meetup for a photo shoot out the front, so I couldn't stay for all of it. But I went and talked to them the following day. I talked to them on the Sunday and got some more information. And it was really interesting, all this stuff that they're trying to do. And I really wanted to get involved somehow, like maybe join one of their knitting groups around here or something. I don't think they have one in Granada at the moment. They also had a book for sale by someone who I've heard of before, because I think either Christy Glass or Patty Land, I think it was Christy Glass. Christy Glass interviewed a woman called Betsan Corkill, who about mental health and knitting. And this woman, Betsan Corkill, has done a book about knitting as an aid to mental health. I can't remember the name of it. But they had that, because of this organisation, they'd managed to translate that book into Spanish, and they were selling that book. So I was asking them if I could possibly get it in English through them, because I personally would prefer to read about mental health stuff in English. I could read it in Spanish, but I prefer to have it in English. And they do actually have some copies, so I need to get onto them, really. I still haven't done it. We're 3 months on, and I still haven't done this stuff. But I could get the book from them, and we were talking about whether I could join a group, but I don't think they have one in Granada. Maybe I could set one up, but then I don't know, because I have a tendency of overcommitting and putting too many things on my plate, and I think something like that is going to be a bit too far, and I don't think it's a good idea. But obviously, my whole thing, this whole brand is about mental health and creativity, and I think what they're doing is super important and really worthwhile. So I do want to do something to help them. I just still haven't quite decided what. So I need to get in touch with them again and see if they can send me that book, for one, and then find out a little bit more about those groups. But please do go and find out some more about them. I'm sure that they will have some information in English. I know one of the girls there did actually do some translating of things into English. She spoke English and translated some things into English. So you should be able to find something there. But I'm sure there are other places wherever you are as well. There's always lots of these organisations around the world. So I really encourage you to go and find these things. Teaching other people how to knit and crochet, knitting and crocheting things together, getting groups together just to socialise. It's all really, really useful stuff and really helpful. So I encourage you all to look for that kind of thing. If it's not this one, and there'll be something else. There's always projects like this going around. Go and find one and join in. And I'm going to find out what I can do with these guys, because I haven't decided, but I'm going to do something, and I still want to get that book. Anyway, that I think is about it, and I have been chatting to you for almost an hour. What else can I say? I don't know, really. That's most of it. Hopefully I won't leave it as long next time, because the weather is finally cooling off. As I said earlier, the main reason for my absence this summer has been because it's been way too hot and I just couldn't cope. I didn't want to podcast, I didn't want to knit, I didn't want to crochet, I didn't want to put makeup on, I didn't want to go out, didn't want to do anything because it was too hot. I just wanted to sit in a cold bath all day. which I didn't do, but it's what I wanted to do. So hopefully now that the weather is finally cooling down again and I can actually sit here with just the window open slightly but not with a fan on and talk to you guys, hopefully I'll be back soon, because despite the summer and the heat and not being able to do an awful lot, I have been trying to kind of chip away at little projects here and there and kind of finish off loads of things that I had pending, just little bits. So although I haven't necessarily done a huge amount, there's not, well, I don't know, I've done various things. I don't know. I haven't done loads of projects from start to finish over the summer, let's say, but I have done little bits here and there, and I've finished off various things, and I've done little projects as well that I have finished as well. So I still have lots more to show you, but today was about Sevilla Teje. So that's it for today. Hopefully I will be back soon. I'll probably do the Spanish version before I do the English version again, but I will try not to leave it so long next time, and show you some more things, and maybe try and get a little bit away from the knitting, because it's not supposed to be all about knitting, but it just kind of is. It's also mental health and creativity, but it's a lot about knitting. This kind of is a knitting podcast. I'm sure you guys love the knitting podcast anyway, so I'm not going to apologise too much. Anyway, enough. I'm just waffling now. So thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you again soon, and bye-bye.